Do you ever feel like your bad attitude is taking over? I felt pretty crunchy in my mindset lately. And to give you a little bit of background before I tell you about this practice that I am intentionally doing to cultivate a little bit more positive internal experience, I need to let you know this framework that I come from. I come from an internal family systems based framework, which constitutes radical acceptance. And I don't even want to call it radical. It's only radical because society says so. I don't think love says so. But we call it all parts welcome. I've been doing IFS for the last 4 years, coming up on 5 years. And I come from a parts work modality, like mindset um, paradigm, where we have a core, loving, wise self, and we have parts. So many of you may be familiar with the inner critic. For some reason, the last 2 years, my inner critic is on a rampage. And instead of shoving her down with disassociation or positivity bypassing, I am aware of her. And when I realize that she is stepping in leading the show, I have a certain practice other than this one that I do to really listen to her and see what her benevolent intent behind her kind of mean behavior is. In general, I have a practice of all parts of me are welcome. And it doesn't mean they get to run the show, but lately they've been running the show. And when that happens, I get to, oh, I need to very intentionally cultivate some what we call self energy. And I'm bringing in the phrase cultivating loving self energy. And we write the word self with a capital S. Sometimes I write it with capital SELF. And the core self, this loving self, is what I call it is the God inside of me, not the God outside of us. I believe that it is connected to infinite love, kind of the universe, and it's also me. I have liked Liz Gilbert for a very long time, have loved her books, loved Big Magic, especially as a creative soul. Went and saw her last year in person, and recently came across a YouTube video, and she talked about this practice that she does called Letters from Love. And it is a two-way love practice. And that arrived on my YouTube feed. Those algorithms sometimes are kind of woo-woo. That arrived in my feed at the perfect time that I was I was recognizing, oh, if I'm going to be doing a lot of this heavy shadow, this really new, what I call layer of parts is here. So my early parts work felt easy compared to the parts work that I'm in the process of unburdening right now, just building relationship right now. And if I'm going to be doing that and I'm willing to feel this uncomfortable and go through these really difficult emotions, I also, and society is just stressful to me right now. And I have an autistic system. Whew. So my whole being just feels and senses a lot. And as I'm recording this, we're 4 days from the election. I care about that stuff. I'm doing some personal work on my business, and I've also become a completely new person. And there's just a lot of midlife transition plus external societal transition that is hard. And when life is hard, many of us have parts that can be very hard on ourselves. And I have been being unusually hard on myself. There's a part of me that is showing up that is unusually hard on myself. Lots of shoulds, lots of internal shame, which instead of running from, I'm working on de-shaming and building relationship with these parts. And that's another practice. And in this practice, what I'm wanting to do, because I do believe in rewiring, and I have gotten a lot of the grooves of doing parts work and sitting with this discomfort. And then I also have a lot of grooves built around expressing my irritation and my anger, and flipping the bird off at news channels or TV or whatever. And so the letters from love practice came up in my feed, and I bought myself a very specific, I bought a new pink journal just for this practice. I bought some new pink pens just for this practice. And I began just about a week ago. I'll share you the inside, and I wrote love letters for Allison. Because being your own best loving friend on this human journey matters. And this is a very specific practice that I'm doing. So while all these other parts come in, I also wanted to intentionally spend time with the most loving parts of me. And whether they're caretaking parts or self energy, I wanted to I wanted to hear their voices. I wanted to hear their comfort. I have a lot of other journals and a lot of other written practices that I do. And letters from love, the way Liz Gilbert sets it up is that it's a contemplative practice, 3 to 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be super long. I'm going to start out in my journal, and I can't wait to get, and many of the things that I start out in my journal, I'm able to end up translating to, I can do it anywhere in my own mind. But the idea is kind of meditative without having to meditate, but an intentional moment for me to cultivate and connect with loving self energy, and taking a few breaths to center, to ask all my other parts to give me some space, that the intention for this time is to hear from love, to hear from my loving self. As Gilbert asked, what would you have me know? And you just write the answers that you intuitively hear. I'm wanting to rewire my brain for affirming, soft, loving voices in my head as a practice of both and. I am not necessarily wanting to replace the difficult voices that need to be heard. I just don't want them running the show. And while I'm building the muscle of being with some really difficult and uncomfortable emotions and thoughts, in my parts practice, I also want to spend time cultivating this more loving, soft voice. And another reason I'm doing this is I'm wanting to have more of a daily divine connection experience. And while my IFS parts practice to me is spiritual, this just feels special and soft and divine. And I have 2 that I pulled out of another journal that I started with. And so this one is a few days in. I have one that I would read to you. I recorded this before and then I re-recorded it. So that's how I knew I was going to read it to you. But I started the practice, and then quickly I ordered the journal and I ordered these pink pens. So earlier this week, here's what it looks like in my journal. I let love speak with the pink pen right now, at least, and wrote, "Hello, love." And love said to me, "Look at these new pink pens. How fun for us to speak this way." And I wrote in black, "What would you have me know today, love?" You, Allie Crow, you are so dang cute, and I love these pink pens. I love your heart, and right now I'm sending it a soft rose butter massage. You are a treasure, an extra, so much more than your work. Just you, no roles. You're worthy of love and important. The work is an anchor or vehicle, and the money is just the bonus because you were born at this time of culture. P.S. I think your fresh haircut is so fun. I love the sass it brings back. Simple. affectionate. And if you want to find out more about this practice, Liz Gilbert, if you just Google search Liz Gilbert or Letters from Love, she has a Substack that talks about it, that leads a community through it. And I'm not necessarily spending a whole lot of time there. I want to spend time in my practice personally with me, and it can be real easy for me to go and consume other content, and I get the idea and the gist. I'm going to make the practice my own. But one of my watchers asked to hear more about this practice, and the main reason I'm doing it is to help with the rewiring. I know I'm doing a lot of trauma healing and internal deep work, and I also want to exercise my loving kindness internal voice synapses in my brain and have that divine experience. So let me know if you think you're going to create your own letters from love nurturing practice and what that might be for you.